Hi, I'm Andy Kuhn, the video producer for the Brooks Group and the blog master for Sales Evolution. We're an award-winning consulting firm specializing in sales and sales management hiring, training, development, and retention. What does that mean? It means enhancing sales performance is our passion. We've spent the last 30 years helping thousands of sales-driven organizations build top-producing sales teams and achieving lasting sales growth. Whether you need a customized sales training program for your entire team, a sales management seminar, or a surefire system for hiring and retaining top-performing salespeople, you'll find the expertise and results you're looking for here. Now, that being said, I've gained access to Bill Brooks, the CEO of the company, and we have the opportunity to ask Bill questions. Each Friday, Bill agreed to answer 3 questions that are left on our blog. How do you do that? It's easy. Go to our blog, brooksgroup.com/blog, and click on the button on the sidebar that says Ask Bill. In there, you'll find all these comments. Leave your question. Now it's time for you to interact and have some fun. Read through the questions. Give it a thumbs up if you think that's a good question. And give it a thumbs down if you don't think that question is suitable for this blog. And each week, we'll take the highest rated question and Bill will answer it. So this is our first week. Enjoy it. Okay, first question comes from Debbie. She says, "Hi, Bill. How do you turn old dead accounts into good prospects for your services and products? We have some old leads and accounts that have either never bought or bought once in an emergency, and numerous attempts have not shaken them from the current vendors. So they fell into the 'we have called them faithfully for 5 years with no response, so we bury them' category. Should we go ahead and bury them, or is there hope for them?"
Very good question. Let me answer that a couple of ways. The first thing is, once a lead has been worked for a certain period of time, in fact, I'm going to tell you, a lead is going to lose its juice about 10% a week. So if you haven't worked the leads except once a year, even if they were bad leads, you're not gaining anything. So here's my question. Do you have any kind of a nurture program? Do you have any sort of an education program, a continuity program? Is there any way for you to get in front of these people on a regular, consistent basis? You know, not an occasional phone call that takes the work of a salesperson, but a cultural program that nurtures and keeps these people in the loop. Upgrades, users conferences. What I'm going to suggest to you, the secret to selling is to be in front of them when they're ready to buy, not when you need to make a sale. And the other thing to remember is you have 1 chance in 14 to 16 to selling something who's never bought anything, 1 in 4 of resurrecting an account, 1 in 2 of selling an existing client or customer more. Bottom line, work the 1 in 4s, but cultivate it. And make it part of a nurturing process. Don't pick them up occasionally. And with those old leads, there comes a time to fish or cut bait. I say in most cases, cut the bait.
Okay, the next question is from Carl Jackson. He says, "Bill, I recently had a salesperson go over my head and the boss's head to make a complaint regarding an email I sent. In the email, I asked her to cease a certain activity that I have requested in the past. She stated that she felt belittled by my response. I was written up. How do you continue in a positive relationship with someone that is a top producer but goes around me and my boss and then continues with the same behavior I asked her to stop?"
There was one phrase in that question that said it all. The phrase was top producer. Here's the question, and I'm going to be very blunt about this. Are you in an environment where the inmates are running the asylum? The truth of the matter is, I, in former positions, when I was running large companies, had to go out and fire top performers, and someone else came through the ranks and made it happen. Now, that's something that's bigger than you. But I'm going to suggest to you that if sales forces are only driven by who produces the most, you're using end process evaluation, not in-process measurement. So I'm going to suggest to you a couple of things. One thing is, how does your manager manage his or her boss? The question is this: if his or her boss allows that person to come direct and then takes action against you, you've got about a 3-level problem that needs to be dealt with. What I'm going to suggest to you is that you need to start encapsulating anything that you ask that person to do and there's non-compliance, and do it and keep a file on it. Keep a record on it. And then go to the very basics and say, okay, where do we go from here? And then you need to ask yourself a simple question. Do I have all the responsibility and no authority? Because if you've got responsibility and no authority, You are seen as a paper tiger by all of the salespeople, and it's going to give you some long-term problems. So this how you manage up becomes a critical issue, and maybe developing the expectations for the job might be a particularly strong thing to do.
In the last question for this week, Gene Roblyer asks, in today's world, the corporation or parent company is not showing as much interest in the employees' well-being, financial concerns, families, better description. They want all the dedication and loyalty, but no longer want to give any back. I realize it will never be where it was, but we have to come back some. How can this be handled so employees will respect their corporation and vice versa?
Excellent question. I think the answer there was vice versa. Now let me give you a little insight here. I have owned companies. I've been president of another company. I've worked for companies. And here's what I'm going to suggest to you. A, it's an epidemic of a lack of loyalty, or the perception of a lack of loyalty, on the part of companies to employees. But I'm going to suggest something to you. It's not just a one-way street. How loyal are employees to the company? Let me give you a couple of examples. How often do people come in early and stay late? How often do they adapt to change quickly? How often do they go above and beyond to service clients? How often do they come up with innovative, creative ideas? And here's another question. When someone signs your paycheck, do they say this is an investment, this is an expenditure, or this is a waste? Now, it sounds as if I'm attacking the employee, and I'm not trying to do that. What I'm going to suggest to you is that unfortunately companies are operating under greater and greater pressure every single day. And what happens now is if it's a public company, you've got stock pressure, you've got board pressure, you've got profitability pressure. If it's a smaller company, you've got cash flow pressure. This is going to become unrelenting. I'm going to suggest to you that the only way for you to develop great security for yourself is to be a top performer. Now, I can tell you this as the owner of a company. Sometimes I'll come in and I'll have an issue and I'll be thinking about something and I won't ask someone how their child is if the child's been sick. And then that thing becomes epidemic and the belief is that we don't care about their children. Well, I'm going to suggest to you that it's very, very difficult to keep that balance. But I'm also going to further suggest to you that it is a two-way street. And your only security, frankly, lies in your ability, your personal ability to perform.
Hey, thanks, Bill. We'll do this again next week.
Good. Thanks, Andy.